Now this is the Deca response. Oh my god, this should be cool. So this is supposedly from the lead of the design team. But yeah, he said, "Hey all, we loved that Josh Strife Hayes has dedicated a video to us. I think the hype generated by it makes for an excellent occasion to write a statement to the community, written from my perspective as lead of the design team at Realm. First of all, I want to say that this is not a post to extensively cover all we intend to do. That was covered by the producer's letter some weeks ago, and I made a video on that if you want to check it out. I've went very in depth on the production letter. Where was that at? Instead, this is a more informal post, written from my point of view, specifically about the new player's experience and some context around it, and not as a thorough answer to all the different topics that appear in Josh's video. Some players might wonder if we see or listen to topics in videos like these. We really do." Bullshit. Bullshit. I don't know if Deca has ever... Oh, actually, they probably have watched a video from a Realm creator. The thing is, they've never shown that they've watched a Realm video before. I think they comment... Like, I know Jendi comments on Afro's videos sometimes because they're friends, but I've never seen anything. Yeah, I know this is a PR post for sure. Some players might wonder if we see or listen to topics in videos like these. We really do. I hope this sheds a little bit of insight on our directions as a studio that really loves the projects they work on. Nexus Shop. One aspect highlighted by Josh's video was how the Nexus Shop products are encountered by a player who enters a Nexus for the first time. Here we go. In reality, we don't place a big role on the Nexus Shop, the items sold in Nexus's floor itself. As you know, we have been focusing on the shop menu instead, which has a proper interface and improving the overall experience from our supporters. We will eventually phase out the Nexus Shop, are good, but like other changes, this is a process that takes time and careful consideration. I really hope they do like a Nexus rework, because something that's interesting that's coming to, what's it called? I'm pretty sure Daza doesn't care about me talking about this, because they talked about it to me while I was streaming, but they want to do like mini games and stuff in Nexus, and they want to make the Nexus experience like a place that you actually want to chill. There's no reason that anyone would want to stay in the Realm Nexus right now, because yeah, it's pretty gross. And to be honest, there's nothing that would really want people to stay in the Daza one right now either, but they're planning to change that. Except for the, there's a cool graveyard in the Nexus of Daza. Like instead of the menu, the ranking, they've got it like as a graveyard instead where you can see all of the top players. I guess pub keys. Yeah, true, pub keys is a thing. And that's another benefit that would come of deleting bazaars. Like imagine if all keys were popped publicly, or like at least they'd have to go through the steps to make it private instead of it being so easy. And the kick option, man, is so cancel. The kick option allows for the fucking disgusting recs for discords to be compulsory, because if there wasn't /kick, then discords would only be like a thing for players that would want to learn the game. Even like end game pro players have to listen to little 13-year-old kids telling them what to do through Discord. Isn't that insane? New player experience. We think the elephant in the room pointed out across the entirety of Josh's video is the new player's experience. We cannot really talk about the past of Realm when it was not in Deca's hands, or why certain decisions were made. You could have changed it! I can, however, talk about today and the future. Realm has about a decade of history. As such, it had a very unique development, resulting in quirks that made it fairly different from many other games. We care a lot about this spirit, and we take it very seriously. We think what makes Realm is something we need to treasure and nurture. Permadeath, for example, is a very important pillar of the gameplay that we need to respect, however challenging and hard it is to design around. Yeah, that's very fair actually. Permadeath is so punishing, and while account and vault progression has a place that we want to extend with seasonal progression, the fact that you die and lose all your stuff is, in our opinion, essential to the identity of the game, and that's also very true. If they ever got rid of permadeath like Steambird's Alliance did, I reckon this game would die so much faster, because permadeath adds like an artificial lifetime to the game. If you make any MMO permadeath, it makes you have to put so much more time into the game to learn it. But they've had this game for over half its lifetime, right? It's been over half the lifetime. It's not like they just stumbled upon this game recently. They've had ample opportunity to change the new player experience already. Dude, Hyperion has been on his knees begging for them to change it, and they just ignored everything. Since he became a Deca partner, he was putting it in the Discord. However, in the past, honest, Realm has also grown pretty much organically. Yeah, because word of mouth is so strong, doesn't need advertising, and influenced by different dev teams and unique directions, and not a single unified vision. This is another particularity of Realm. It has been growing with its player base over time. The game received incremental changes, and the teams in charge didn't revisit the whole process, from onboarding new players to the experience of endgame veterans. They focused on the update at hand, leaving reviewing the overall product for a future project which never came. Wait, I don't understand, hold on. There's no... Dude, they've had this game for 5 years. They're acting like they stumbled... Deca's acting like they stumbled upon Abomination recently, when not only did they like recode the whole thing, or they ported the whole thing, but they had ample time to make the new player experience better. They have done some things, like they made it that you can purchase for fame. Oh, actually, I gotta give them credit for the best update they ever did, I think, was the pet nerf, because it made it easier for new players. This game actually used to be so much harder for new players now that I think about it. Do you remember how crazy health regen used to be before pets came in? Sorry, before that pet change? Holy shit. Before they brought in, what is it called? I forgot. Vital Combat, that's it. Before they brought in Vital Combat, it used to be so much harder. I actually can't believe how hard it used to be. That's definitely the best update Deca's ever done, in my opinion. But yeah, they've also done things like added the option to buy a vault and a character stock for fame, which is really hard to see unless you go into the shop. Alright, next part. I'm definitely aware of this and can tell you we think of important changes needed for new player experience. However, it's also true that we have made an important commitment to fix certain problems and introduce systems that we think need to be in place before we work on the new player experience. I think they made the new player experience easier, but they also made it harder. Looking back on your old halls vids made me thank Deca for the pet nerf. I think rushing lost halls used to be harder when pets were OP, because not only, there's a few reasons why. Now there's exalts, which are disgustingly OP. If you have a fully exalted character, your damage increases by 22.5%, and you get more HP, more speed, more mana, more death, more vitality, more whiz, and you also get the out of combat pet thing if you exalted enough characters. Also, since those videos I made on Lost Halls rushing, they brought out so many overpowered items. Now if you rush dungeons, like say if you rush Lost Halls, back in the day, if I bring up one of my YouTube videos of me rushing a Lost Halls, it used to be extremely difficult to live, because all of the crusades and all of the drags that you had, you wouldn't be able to kill them because of the HP scaling in the game. There was such a high base HP before that everything used to chase you. You wouldn't even have the option of killing it. But now you can kill everything you drag. Do I make it through this insane rush? Oh god, old Seb videos. Uh-oh.
Alright guys, come. Oh, you're done? Alright guys, come US East 2. We're doing another Dirty Halls.
They were called Dirty Halls because you couldn't clear the minions when they chased you. It used to be so much harder. Look, see these crusades? You can dream that you kill them, but now you can like insta-kill crusades solo if you're in a small enough group. I forgot to mention the third thing that made Lost Halls rushing significantly easier is the power creep on items. You used to have not much options for items, but now every character has like a piercing item. Like melees now have divinity, and it makes it a lot easier. You used to not be able to, what's it called even? Look at this, look at the damage I'm doing. Look at the damage I'm doing. It's so easy to kill crusades, and I'm only with this many people. Dude, you couldn't even consider killing a crusade back in the day. It was so AIDS. You used to have to drag it out manually. Now you can kill crusades in the pot room that you drag it in, if you have a small enough group. That wasn't even an option before. Changes that big take time and we cannot rush our way here. What big systems are more important than the very same door to the game? Here are a few. Seasons. We believe that the step is introducing a rational but stimulating seasonality that gives players interesting things to do instead of a content mashup. We don't want to detract from the fun from people who love the freedom of that style of gameplay though, and we definitely want both types of fun to be enjoyed together. And this is why a seasonal rotation of goals with unique seasonal achievements, similar to a mission system, and important enhancements to this experience is the way to go. It will give you the choice of pursuing a clear, well-defined seasonal progression that is neither too far nor leaves you with a clue on what to do next. next. I don't understand how seasons will help the new player experience. This is only relevant if someone makes a seasonal character right away, right? But on the subject of a new player experience, we want to introduce beginner level achievements. That's good. While this does not directly address the problem, we really believe it will make a positive step in that direction. These achievements will always be present in the game to guide players through the basics. In my opinion, it will provide a much needed structure to the player's first steps, while not being mandatory or impositive in any way. Oh god, I got hiccups, help. Realm and the core loop. Dude, the core loop is fucked, man. More like the core Discord loop. Another very important point that has been unaddressed for a long time is Realm's core loop. The Realm, reworking the Realm is something I'm very keen on doing in particular. Yeah, I'm pretty keen on it as well, but they don't have to go crazy with it. Dude, Dar's Dominion did a very good job from making the core loop funner than what Realm is. Like, they just got rid of the Ents, the Liches, they're all cringe. They got rid of all of that stuff, and they made it that the event bosses are much more tankier, because in Realm they just get steamrolled, and they have like a 2-minute gap between spawns. I think that's a really good way to do it, to be honest. The Realm needs to be so much more than just a content hub. While dungeons are peak of intense and thrilling fun, a proper Realm should play a big role in how we all play in the long term. While we don't want to fundamentally alter the essence of how Realm is played, we think it is a very unique and beautiful mechanism that gives Realm a lot more personality. We think there are better ways of closing a Realm than tracking over the nth Enter Ancient. Yeah, that is so cringe. The Enter Ancient clearing, man. So bad. I'm glad they're gonna slightly nerf low quantity players' ability to steamroll dungeons, but also allow high quantity players to have a better time. You see all these lower endgame dungeons bosses only being done in 10 seconds, and it's kinda dumb, yeah. Stats rebalance. We received a couple of questions about stats rebalance. I think it's good to let you know our plans, as we briefly mentioned in the producer's letter. Let me give a bit of context on why we want it. As I mentioned before, due to Realm's history and different teams working on it, this is organic but not vision-led growth we inherited from the past has directed us to some very important considerations regarding the balance of the game. I think several problems in the game stem from certain imbalances from a time when the game was in a very different situation. Yeah, I'm pretty keen for a stats rebalance. I think a stats rebalance would be as good as the... what is the system called again? I forgot. Vital Combat. That's right. I think a stats rebalance would be like my second favorite update, or maybe my first favorite update. Like, it's so boring on paper, but it's so important for the game. I wonder where the game would be without Vital Combat actually. Can you guys imagine how shit it would be? I think it would be in a much more dead state than it is now. We have taken our time both in the technical side and the design side to not only care about new content that bears with it, but also we have spent a lot of resources talking about ways to tackle the underlying problems that generate. For example, the dreaded DPS medal, and most importantly, why it happens. So are they going to go against them prioritizing Discord so much? Dude, they wrote so much, but we're almost done, right? Yeah, we're almost done. The stats rebalance is about changing this. It is about changing the balance of different systems way more than just stats of characters, items, and enemies. So the game stays faithful to its core, but also allow different viable options for players who don't like to choose between optimality versus their preferred playstyle. I think, dude, this game is honestly only up from here. It's in such a bad state, man. Holy shit. I know some people actually hate the Vital Combat change, and they're pussies, man. Dude, the pets were so disgusting. If we had all this power creep without the Vital Combat, I don't want to imagine where the game would be. It would be the most dead game. It is also about creating more space in between the item progressions so we can come up with more variety of items. Dude, yes, please. The O3, one of the things I hate about the O3 update is that it spawned items that are a must-have. Like now, back in the day, you used to be able to choose between items, but now there's like a must-have item for a lot of classes, and there's sometimes multiple. And options, as currently the progression space between the mid-game and the end-game is not really to our liking. We feel we have too little granularity to offer a truly satisfying experience of growing your way towards the most powerful league of items. I hope this also helps in understanding a bit why we want to introduce changes to different systems, from item forge to early mid-game gear rebalance. It's not about one category of items, it's about the entire player's journey. I can't read today. I can't read today. Again, this is not about changing the core that makes it Realm what it is, but there are certain imbalances that stem from past decisions. Stop blaming it on the past. They do that a lot. They've had this game for majority. When did they take? Hold on. This is the best way to figure out when they took over Realm. Silverdor or Twitter? This is how I always check it. Alright, if you go to Silver Door Twitter, the most recent post, June 2016. RotMG release date. June 2011. They've had it for more than half the time. Stop coping. You can stop blaming, man. So yeah, they've had it more than half the time because they picked it up in 2016, it got released in 2011, and it is now 2022. So they didn't have it for 5 years, they've had it for 6 years. I want to emphasize how invested we are in the game's growth. I hope so. All in all, the stats of Rebalance is a very big project we want to address eventually. However, same as the new player experience, it will for sure take a great amount of time and effort that we need to craft carefully. Lore. I do not want to finish the post without mentioning that lore has a very important place in mind. Realm is not a narrative focused game, and I kind of appreciate it for that. Like, I prefer the almost non-existent lore in Realm than the games that stick lore down your throat, but it would be nice to have more lore in the game. Realm is not a narrative focused game, but I am always very keen on trying to consider everything. However absurd from within the epic absurd fantasy setting of Realm, the in-game universe laughs at itself, but we do not care about it. What? Like, for example, I don't like the lore in Lost Ark. I just wanted to get to level 50, man, and I have to sit through all this shit. The lore in Lost Ark isn't even that good, to be honest, the story. Yeah, I don't know, I felt like it was so forced the whole way. So, like, imagine if Realm had that. Because we have to dedicate a lot of time to many different projects, yep, you do have 20 mobile games, we might not always have time to prioritize lore, but when we can, we like to make it so every item contributes to this. My favourite lore and story in any game is Dark Souls. They do it the best. There's so much lore in the game if you choose to involve yourself with it. But some people don't give a fuck about story and lore, so they just like kill the zombies and whatever, and rush the bosses. That's kind of like me, but on successive playthroughs, I explore the lore of games like Dark Souls 1 and Dark Souls 2, and I like how the story is presented in that game. But we have to dedicate a lot of time to a different blah 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 blah. I'll be honest and say that I would like to expand on this and give it more focus to a coherent, even if it's sometimes absurd world building. Why didn't you do this already? Oh, okay, this is what I was asking this whole time. Because yeah, they've had the game for so long, so maybe this will answer it. We have a roadmap and a vision. Pieces need to be put in place or the full puzzle won't make sense. I understand it might be frustrating at times, but we really need to work on content and balance and progression systems like seasons. Before committing to something like a big new player experience onboarding, this takes time and careful planning. At the same time, we acknowledge we aren't always right. We hear and read a lot of feedback on a daily basis and use it to make informed decisions, understand our players, and generate important internal reflections and creative meetings where everyone has the betterment of Realm in mind. Dude, this is all PR, man. This is so much PR. I like a lot of stuff that they're saying, but yeah, it feels really PR-ish. No, this whole post feels a lot more extended than it needs to be. We learn from this and we grow alongside you. We read and listen. Now is our time to thank you for reading this and being there with us. See you in the Realm. I might pop another boss rush from time to time. A boss rush? That's actually awesome instead of admin arena, or did they mean admin arena? PS to Josh, we really want to thank you for your video and feedback. Dude, they didn't even listen to Deca partners, man. They only are thanking Josh because he had the massive, traction behind him. I can't express how much we got ignored in the Deca partner Discord. I gave up on giving suggestions there, but there were some people like Hyperion that were trying to the very end to try to help the game. And the only person that was responding was Toasters. That's kind of why Hyperion left. We hope we can get another look at Realm from you sometimes later. Okay, that makes sense. I like the fact that they made this post, but it does feel very PR-y. Alright, there's some insane comments here. Are you ready? Oh good, they replied to this. The DPS meta stems from your own decisions to make HP scaling punish quantity over quality. Yes! Thank you. Dude, I swear not many people dislike the HP scaling in this game. Does anyone else dislike it? I mean, if you watch my stream, you probably do, because I probably convinced you. But, I don't know, people feel really on board with the HP scaling, but it's a massive problem, I think. It makes it so unplayable to play with a lot of people. Dude, this game used to be so stream friendly. Back in the day, we used to be able to do Lost Halls together and stuff. I was actually excited for an exponential HP scaling, to be honest, because I do think it was a problem with the steamrolling before, but all they had to do was increase reduce the amount per person. But I don't know why, but initially I didn't think the HP scaling was that bad, but it's horrible. And they've gotten so much criticism from not only their designers that work at Deca, but so many players to change it, but they haven't yet, and people that make content for the game. DPS meta stems, blah 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 blah. If you don't address HP scaling first, it will not matter how much you adjust the stats, people will keep going for DPS oriented builds. Yeah, basically the DPS meta stems from HP scaling. I'll be the first to say that the HP scaling change that shipped with Vital Combat was a mistake in the long run. Why haven't you changed it then? It's definitely better to stand in group with the 6 priests and AFK shoot. No, that was because of Vital Combat. That wasn't the HP scaling. That was because of pets and Vital Combat. They could have introduced the Vital Combats and the priest nerf. It's only because it came at the same time that people associate them to be the same. Like, they could have nerfed priests and nerfed pets while building on the, like, keeping the old HP scaling and just changing it slightly. I think that would have been the best. He made me a graph of the HP scaling, and if they were to change the HP scaling to what I think would be optimal, oh, here we go. And also against the current one. Dude, like, this one starts off too low. This is the new HP scaling, right? The orange one. The green one is what I suggested. I think the green one would be best. Maybe with a bit lower base HP. I think the green one would be best because this part here is what all raids run at. No one wants it up here. Well, what I wanted to say about the HP scaling, the new one, is it actually made the DPS meta. Like, before the new HP scaling, there was barely any requirements. I think only Lost Halls, because Lost Halls was such a beginner-friendly Discord, they had some very basic recs. Like, it was like tier 9 weapons or something. I'm really excited to see what they say about the DPS meta and the HP scaling. Let me just recap on this message. This guy said the DPS meta stems from your own decision to make HP scaling punish quantity over quality. If you don't address HP scaling first, it will not matter how much you adjust the stats. People will keep going for DPS oriented builds. And then a developer replies with, I'll be the first to say that HP scaling change that shipped to a Vital Combat was a mistake in the long run. Overall, I think it's much better than the old system. Stuff getting absolutely crushed by larger and larger play counts. It would have been best if they shipped the priest nerf and the pet nerf with variations to the old HP scaling. But anyway, this current system gets too rewarding to a small player count and too punishing for larger ones. How did you only just realize? It can't be that hard to change the HP scaling now. I definitely think this feeds into part of the DPS meta issues, but also I think it's partly because things don't require nearly as much individual effort when in large group as they should. If boss's bullets get completely distracted or blocked by other players around you, you don't need to invest in health or anything else near as much. You introduce opacity. Come on, man. That shouldn't be an excuse. But there's some very interesting comments down here. Are you ready? No one cares about these suggestions. No one cares. Oh, this guy makes a good point. Like, he's recapping on the comment where they're telling us to be patient by saying we have a roadmap and a vision. Pieces need to be put in place or the full puzzle won't make sense. I understand it might be frustrating, blah 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 blah, that's shit. And then Rocket Boy says, I'm sorry, but this sentiment about waiting until the game is ready has been reiterated for years now. I'm increasingly worried that the game will not have enough time to wait around for the development team to make it ready for work on the new play experience. I hope you begin to prioritize it sooner or later, because time is not being kind to the game. It hasn't been for at least 5 years now. But this is the best. This is the best, guys. Are you guys ready? This is what we were waiting for. This gives me no faith in the future of Realm. I do not see any concrete plans or strategies to enhance the new player experience. Unibro just puts a smiley face. I see you are a former Deca designer. Your comment confuses me as I am not familiar with you. Do you want to watch it all burn? Or do you think I'm being dramatic? What's on your mind? Mr. Unibro, former Deca designer. I also have lost faith. I know there are a lot of people at Deca now that genuinely still try their best and have a positive effect on the game. Their impact on things that happen to the game is not as big as I wish it would be. I am dubious of the new promises for next Motomiga being the biggest Motomiga. They say that every year, and how bad was the last month of the Mad God? Oh, considering its promises for things on top of promises for last year's Motomiga that aren't even delivered yet. Oh, like enchantments. If this year's Motomiga is a letdown, on top of the apparently declining player base, the future for the game can't be that bright. Kid, Toast, and myself left because we would rather be unemployed than keep working with Deca. Damn, Jesus. But how much longer can things decline before employees are told to leave instead? Is there any more replies? Damn, that's a grim outlook. One I began to speculate about as early as your departure, but I was never expecting any confirmation. My faith's low too, though there's little else to do but hold on to it. Yeah, I still care, I guess, because I keep browsing the sub, even beyond farming Copian with leaving salty comments. I hope my outlook turned to be wrong a couple of months down the line. Yeah, that's same as me. I hope everything improves a lot, and that's it. How is it still quiet? Okay, now it's too loud. Alright, we're gonna be listening to the key points, alright? Yeah, that's Wotan in the background. They do a live stream every 2 weeks. With this live stream, it's Wotan, Akalos, and Von Jarman, who's like their lead designer.
When will the bow update happen? Probably next one.
So they said that the next big update will be the bow one.
Definitely we want to release bow rework and katana adjustments.
Because of the forge system, because the forge is so well designed, I will never have to do 03 again. And I'll still get the items. Maybe unless I need tiered items, but who knows, we might do 03 one day in the future, but it will probably be during a chest event, to be honest. Much more likely to do shadows, as much as I used to do things. You know what, the more I look at Deca updates, the more I realize they're trying. Because I think about the Captcha update, what a pain in the ass update. It's been in the works for months, and it doesn't give them any money, you know what I mean, the Captcha update. So what's the one thing you think Realm should do to regain its player base? Definitely improve the new player experience, and I think the best way to do that in the short term, like, it sounds very troll, there's a lot of idea behind it, but I think the best way to improve the new player experience almost instantly is to delete bazaars, because there's so many servers that are dead, so many realms that are 0 out of 85, because half the game at least plays this game privately. Imagine if all of the dungeons were popped in Nexus or in Realm, and everyone, like, there was more of an incentive to play in Realm. One of the reasons why Josh Strife Hayes had such a hard time is because he often found himself by himself, which makes it really hard to play, you know what I mean? And that's why he didn't get level 20. He would have gotten level 20 really often, but I meant more the veteran players that quit. They're more willing to return, so whenever Deca adds an interesting update, it just depends on how interesting it is. When people saw Shatters, a lot of them didn't come back because it wasn't that interesting of an update, to be honest, and I can't blame them.
What are the plans for Sorcerer Rework? We want to make it cool.
They want to make it cool, you hear that, guys?
The plans themselves is just to rework the ability, and then based on the ability we will rework the playstyle, and the ability have to be very, very closely linked.
Next.
And what it will do, I won't spoil, but it will do something cooler based a lot on your position and careful skill with where you position yourself and how you use the enemies, and pretty much what sorcery is, right? So it's a lot about skill and timing and careful position.
Have you considered an ultimate and super ability attack?
Think of it how it will impact the gaming. Like, will there be new class weapons different from the already existent?
Oh yeah, they already confirmed.
New class weapons, like for example, you have the sword, right? The bows, the ones that. Yeah, they're definitely that's something we announced in the producer's letter.
They made an example in the producer's letter, because I also made a 1-hour video on the producer's letter. They mentioned that, for example, bow classes in the future will most likely have bows, but they'll also have crossbows, like 2 different weapon types. So like there'll be tier 0 to tier 14 bows and tier 0 to tier 14 crossbows. Wonton's the one moding.
PPE mode.
Oh, there we go.
Yes. Yes.
Dude, he's so eager to say it.
So definitely
he's so eager to say it.
We cannot release the details. We are working out some of the details, but and how it will work exactly and how it will be delivered. But yes, we want it.
We want it bad.
It's a very big important part of how a lot of people play the game.
They said they're not going to do a skill tree because they said it doesn't work, but I really disagree. I don't know why a skill tree wouldn't work. The only reason why it wouldn't fit into the game currently is because it would be way too power creepy. If you guys saw, there was a game similar to Realm being developed where classes had a skill tree. It was very similar. A skill tree would just make the game more interesting. It's kind of like how BTN has runes. Desolate Lands had skill trees. The sad thing about Desolate Lands is the main developer ran away with all the funding money, which is kind of cringe. Yeah, I think a skill tree would make the game a lot more interesting. Like, you know how they create so many classes? It shouldn't be quantity, it should be quality. And the next one's going to be the 18th or the 19th? I forgot what, dude, I even lost count. of how many classes there is. There's that many. Yeah, I like reworking the idea of reworking classes.
Do you have a
Reminded me.
plan on releasing content harder than 03?
Yes.
Yeah, isn't that interesting?
Not much to say on that, but yes.
Any plans for bringing back the arena?
No. The arena, yeah.
RIP
but
arena.
actually,
Any plans to create dungeons that require more teamwork or specific mechanics? Something similar to raids in other MMOs?
Yes.
I'm just
it's
kidding,
an
I'm just
interesting
joking,
one
I'm just
because
joking.
there's a lot of
You know what?
things in that question. For one, let's agree that Realms dungeons are not exactly the same thing as other MMOs dungeons.
Agreed.
Right? Because you cannot spend 50 minutes, you cannot spend 2 hours.
To be honest, I like the longer realm dungeons. Like, I kind of like the new Shatters duration. I think people only don't like it because it's so different, but that's how long Shatters... Sorry, that's how long... Actually, it's how long Shatters used to be. It's how long Lost Halls used to be. It's how long Nest used to be. They all were made easier through Powercreep or direct updates.
I think we've been doing in the last couple of years a great job in that regard. Like, we put in a lot more emphasis on that level design of the dungeon. So it's not just going there, clearing room after room after room. There's some kind of good gameplay there. And yeah, we definitely want to keep that going. And about the teamwork, it depends.
Yeah, more teamwork in Realm would be
teamwork
cool.
elements where you are more efficient if you do teamwork, but
Hold
we
on.
don't want to
I couldn't do it.
make it a barrier, which is a very important philosophy, right? We don't want to make it a barrier for players.
Oh, so they're talking about team play.
But I want to go solo or want to go.
We're talking about team play right now.
smaller
dungeons.
groups or stuff like that.
Potentially.
So that's also important because this is a more.
Dude, I'm sad they didn't talk about HP scaling, but they did talk about HP scaling in the Reddit post.
Like in other MMOs.
And Becky S asks, what are the biggest inspirations the Deca team takes for their vision of RotMG?
Mobile
The
games!
biggest Assassin Rework. I think that's another interesting one. Yes. So Assassin Rework, same Assassin Rework. We want to.
God
we
damn
want,
it,
no,
seller
we are
time.
doing, working intensely on Assassin Rework. A lot of other
Alright,
classes.
I don't think
just
they're talking about anything
were
anymore.
better.
I don't think they're talking about anything important anymore.